Hey K-Ville friends, welcome back this week for another activity to help us review the story that we heard today. So today, in the story we heard God giving Moses the 10 commandments, and specifically we looked at the first 4 because they're about loving God. And so our activity is an activity to just practice reviewing and reminding ourselves what those first 4 commandments are and pairing it with a fun target toss game. So kids, the challenge to you is mostly in the setup of the game. You gotta figure out or find in your house 4 bins of some sort to toss objects into. It can be plastic cups, it can be laundry baskets, it can be buckets, but you need 4 since we're reviewing the first 4 commandments. And then something to toss into those containers. So obviously if you've picked little plastic cups, then you need a small object to toss in. They can be bouncy balls, they could be a stuffed animal, it could be a piece of paper crumpled up. But spend some time finding your bins and finding at least one item that can be tossed into those bins. Test it out, figure it out, and once you've got those things ready, then either one of you or a parent can make up 4 signs to be labeled with each bin. And each of those signs has one of the first 4 commandments written out on it. Okay, so as you can see here, we've set up 2 different variations of the game. We've got a row of cups and we've got a row of larger bins. Obviously that changes the degree of difficulty. So if you want a challenge, small targets. If that's frustrating, go for larger targets. And we brought in a couple different throwing options. We've got a little beanie boo, a bouncy ball, and a wad of paper. And then you can see here we have our labels for each of the first 4 commandments. So once you've got your setup and your supplies, you're gonna form a line with whoever is playing the game. And the first person in line is going to read off the first commandment and attempt to toss it into the first cup. So I would read off, "Do not have any other gods beside me." Yeah! And so if you make it, then you get to go on to the second commandment. Do not make an idol for yourself. Oh, and as soon as you miss, then you go to the back of the line and the next person gets to try. So when you retrieve, get it set up, and pass it on to the next person. Okay? So if you're like us and you have 2 different versions set up, then maybe different age kiddos in your family can approach it differently. So, yep, and each person, when it's their turn, reads off the command that goes with the cup they're aiming for.
Do not have any other gods beside me.
That went in. I'd say that's a good in. Oh, come here.
Do not make an idol of yourself. Do not have any other gods beside me.
Yes.
Do I have to go all the way back?
Back up. Yeah.
Do not make an idol for yourself. Yeah! Do not misuse the name of the Lord your God. Oh!
Good try.
I was in the other cup.
You did.
Do not have any other gods beside me. Do not make an idol of yourself. Do I stay here?
Nope, you go back.
Do not
Misuse
the name of the Lord your God.
So close. Parents, we just wanted to give you an idea to consider for furthering the conversation, whether it's around the dinner table or at bedtime or wherever you have extended Bible teaching conversation as a family. But we noticed that the first 4 commandments are about loving God. And jumping forward into the New Testament, when we look at Jesus teaching his disciples how to pray, using the Lord's Prayer, similarly, the beginning of the prayer looks at our heart's orientation towards the Lord and acknowledging him as our Father and setting his name apart as holy, and calling his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. And so maybe just trying to look at, as a family, how Jesus follows that same model and how his prayer can, like Michael preached last week, help us as we go through that model that Jesus provided, what it helps us to remember, and what that remembering helps us focus our hearts on, specifically this week in loving the Lord our God above all else.